Dear friends, welcome to the channel The Eastern Front. At the first stage of the Great Patriotic War, the anti-tank rifle was extremely dangerous for armored vehicles. Soldiers with anti-tank rifles could hit an advancing tank with a distance of 100-200 meters. Their work in the war was probably one of the most dangerous. Today we will talk about twin brothers Ivan and Dmitry Ostapenko, who were originally from the Luhansk city, Donbass region. At the beginning of the war, they were drafted into the Red Army and sent to the courses of the armor piercer, after which the brothers served in Transcaucasia as part of the 10th Guards Rifle Brigade. In 1942, the brigade was included into the 9th Army of General Karateev and sent to North Ossetia. At that time, the Nazis, with the forces of the 1st Tank Army, Army Group A, together with the Romanian units, broke through the front in the Nalchik direction and on 2nd November reached the approaches to the city of Orjonikidze, but the enemy's offensive was stopped here. On 6 November, Soviet troops began to counterattack, creating a threat of encirclement for the advancing Germans. For the withdrawal of troops, the Nazis had only a 3-kilometer corridor in the area of the Myra Madaga. The Wehrmacht tanks began to retreat in the direction of this corridor, but there they were met by the 10th Guards Rifle Brigade, in which Ivan and Dmitry Ostapenko served. There were no tanks or anti-tank guns in their brigade itself, so it depended on the armored piercers whether the tank could break out into operational space or not. By the way, on my channel you could watch an interesting video on how ordinary soldiers use the RPG grenades against German tanks and why they don't like this weapon. As soon as the German tanks approached at a distance of about 100 meters, Dmitry Ostapenko shot down the leading tank with the first shot, which caught fire, blocking the way for the others. And while the Nazis were confused, Dmitry knocked out 2 more tanks. Jumping tankers were shot with a machine gun by the Red Army soldier Portyankin, and Dmitry's brother Ivan fired at tanks from the other end of the trench. Soon the Germans regrouped, and an even larger group of German tanks moved into position. As a result of the explosion, Dmitry Ostapenko was shell-shocked and captured. Ivan, along with the survivors of that battle, retreated to new positions, where the German tanks were finally stopped. On 11 November, near Orjonikidze, the German units were completely defeated. After counting the tanks shot down in the Battle of Myra Madaga, it was found out that Dmitry knocked out 12 tanks and Ivan 8. Ivan Osipov and machine gunner Portyankin were awarded by the Order of Lenin. Dmitry was posthumously awarded the title Hero of the Soviet Union, but Dmitry Ostapenko in the early spring of 1943 managed to escape from captivity and in March found himself in the location of our troops. In May 1943, in the Kremlin, Dmitry Ostapenko was awarded the Hero's Star by Mikhail Ivanovich Kalinin. After the war, the brothers returned to their homeland and lived in the city of Alexandrovsk, Luhansk region. A park in the Arkhanovskaya village of North Ossetia is named after Dmitry Ostapenko. In the exposition of the Alligar City Museum, North Ossetia stored an anti-tank gun of the hero. And now I would like to read a short excerpt from the newspaper Pravda, who interviewed Dmitry Ostapenko. When I knocked out the first tank, the Germans shifted their fire to our trench. It's terrible to remember even now. Tanks are climbing forward, machine gunners are shouting, shooting. I tried not to pay attention to the submachine gunners. It was a problem of my comrades, and my job was to watch the tanks, and I knocked out one tank after another. Now, when I remember, I even wonder how I had peace of mind. If I hit the tank and it didn't catch fire, I sent him a second bullet to make the smoke go. The first attack was repulsed. Lieutenant Shubkin says, "Now it's time to smoke, we lit up." But here again the tanks climbed. I got back to work. In battle you don't notice time. Many comrades are already wounded. From time to time Lieutenant Shubkin talked to me. Then he fell silent. He was killed by a mine. I was left alone. Suddenly a heavy tank burst forward, and I already had all the cartridges. You can't retreat because of the intense fire. I grabbed the machine gun, waited a moment and crawled away from the trench. Began to shoot the Fritzes with the machine gun fire. The German tankers didn't notice that I had crawled away. They have a tank built on my trench and began to iron it. Here fellow soldiers and my brother thought that I was gone. Then I was wounded and I lost consciousness. I woke up from the sun blow. I opened my eyes and the Nazis are standing over me. At the first opportunity I escaped from captivity. Kind people sheltered me and the advancing Soviet troops immediately arrived. I quickly refreshed myself in the hospital and returned to combat formation. My brother and I defended our native land. This is the main thing. And love for the motherland and hatred of enemies demanded that we know the capabilities of armor-piercing guns perfectly. We knew the weaknesses of enemy tanks. Good trenches had been dug the day before. And people also said at the front, from discipline to heroism is one step. The company commander pointed out the position to us and ordered, "Here you stand to the death," and we stand it. After those events in the North Caucasus, my brother and I ended up in different units, but it turned out that we were walking almost side by side to Berlin. The victory was welcomed in the German capital. Both of them left their autographs there at Reichstag. Dear friends, that's all for today. It was Tim and the Eastern Front channel. And as usual, I wish you peace and health. See you.